Hi everyone, I'm Antonia Carlotta. Welcome back to Universally Me, the channel for all things Universal and classic horror. And today we're talking about a film that both horror aficionados and new fans should find intriguing. We are journeying back to the Roaring Twenties to discuss the eerie and iconic silent film, The Cat and the Canary. The Cat and the Canary started its life as a stage play written in 1922 by John Willard. It's a dark comedy, and its blend of horror and humor caught the eye of Universal. You will find that this specific blend of horror and humor becomes something of a theme at Universal over the next few years. It was part of Universal's 1927 slate of films. They put $14.5 million into their entire slate that year, though I don't know exactly how much went to The Cat and the Canary. And this film is often cited as the first old dark house film. And I don't know if that's completely true. I do think it's among the first, but I think it might be the oldest surviving old dark house film. The Cat and the Canary revolves around the death of a millionaire who lives in a creepy old mansion named Cyrus West, and the reading of his will for his family members 20 years later. Why the delay? Well, because as he neared death, his greedy relatives circled him like cats around a canary. To inherit his fortune, the intended heir from the will must prove her sanity. If she fails, there's a second will that names a different heir. Now, stuck in the mansion with those same greedy relatives, the intended heir feels like she too is surrounded by cats, and mysterious occurrences make her feel like she's going crazy. And also, a man known as the Cat escaped from an asylum, and he is somewhere on the mansion grounds. The Cat and the Canary was directed by Paul Leni, who my uncle Carl Laemmle had invited to the United States. I'm pretty sure that Uncle Carl had seen Paul Leni's movie Waxworks, and he was impressed. And Uncle Carl, he really had a knack for finding early talent. He was one of the first to hire John Ford and William Wyler, even Walt Disney, Irving Thalberg. And, he had a knack for these things, and he was spot on with Paul Leni. Paul Leni turned the movie into something of a German expressionist masterpiece. It is so fun to watch. I feel like some movies, especially at the time, that were based on plays would fall into a trap of being shot like a play, like it would be very still, not a lot of camera movement. It could make movies feel kind of slow or stiff. I think even the 1931 English Dracula falls into that camp. But The Cat and the Canary is not like that at all. It is so dynamic. There's so much movement. There is all of this playing with light and shadow, these interesting camera angles. There is this general playfulness to the movie that's so fun. Even the title card at the beginning with the hand wiping the cobwebs away. I love that. And I think that just from beginning to end, through and through, there is so much art to The Cat and the Canary. The Cat and the Canary is a prime example of early genre bending or genre blending. It's easiest to say that it's horror. There's suspense and murder and creepy hands and menacing shadows, a lunatic on the loose, an old dark house, your classic recipe. But The Cat and the Canary is not just a horror film. There's some traditional romance in it, and then, of course, you've got your comedy. It's got blatant sarcasm. It's got all these little gags that, honestly, most of them get a pretty good laugh out of me. And it's really easy to see the influence that this movie had on other films. I think that you can draw a direct line from this movie to The Old Dark House, all the way up to, Clue and even Knives Out. I'm sure I spoke about The Old Dark House as being a pioneer of old dark house films in my video about The Old Dark House. But The Cat and the Canary was a full 5 years before that. And there's no doubt that James Whale took some inspiration from this movie. So for all the credit that we do give to The Old Dark House, and that we should give to The Old Dark House, I just want to make sure that The Cat and the Canary is in the conversation as well. This trope has become such an important part of horror and mystery in the century since. The Cat and the Canary stars Laura LaPlante and Creighton Hale and features Forrest Stanley, Tully Marshall, Gertrude Astor, Flora Finch, and Martha Maddox. Casting was initially top secret, and it sounds like it was something of a big deal. Each actor went through the casting process and went back to Universal for what they thought was one final callback. But when they got there, instead of another audition, they were surprised by Uncle Carl standing there with their contract. Laura LaPlante was one of Universal's biggest stars of that era, and this is perhaps the role that she was most remembered for the rest of her life. Creighton Hale received positive reviews too for playing a refreshingly different type of hero. The whole cast is great, and there's really not a dull moment in the movie. It is action-packed. For a silent film, I did feel like this one was a pretty chatty silent film. I can be guilty of multitasking my way through films sometimes, which I know isn't great, but I have a lot to do. And after my 20th time rewinding within the first 10 minutes, I just realized that that was not going to be possible with The Cat and the Canary. You have to give it your full attention, but also no regrets. When The Cat and the Canary was released, it was a box office success, with critics giving a lot of the praise to Paul Leni. Like I said, this movie really laid the groundwork for a century of old dark house films that have come since. And The Cat and the Canary had some remakes, including one in 1939 starring Bob Hope and one in 1978. Paul Leni could have and should have a much bigger name. I think that his career could have been huge, but unfortunately he passed away just 2 years after The Cat and the Canary came out. His final two films were The Man Who Laughs and The Last Warning. And there's no knowing what he would have accomplished, but just judging by the films that we know, I truly feel like we missed out on a lot by losing him so soon. There are 100 reasons why everybody should watch The Cat and the Canary, whether you are a film buff or whether you're new to horror and new to classic film. It's this masterclass in atmosphere and suspense. It has so many twists and turns in it that are so fun. The humor, the laughs, the genre bending is really cool to see, especially in such an old film. And, The Cat and the Canary is such a great look at early horror cinema and seeing how it shaped horror and movies as we know them today. So this movie, it should really be on everybody's list. I'm highly recommending it. And I really want to put good jujus out in the air. I think that this is a movie that would be so fun to watch on a big screen. So I want somebody, hopefully somewhere that I can attend it, but for the greater good anywhere. I want somebody to do an October screening of this for Halloween. I think that would be a really great idea. So somebody watch this, make it happen, and please invite me. Please show your support by hitting that subscribe button. Show extra support by joining with a paid YouTube membership or on Patreon. I've got tons of bonus content up there. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Antonia Carlotta. And thank you all so much for watching. Bye.